So after the Galaxy M30 and then the M30s, we now have the M31. It comes in two variants, both with 6 gigs of RAM, but one with 64 gigs onboard storage and the other with 128. So in the box you do get an adaptive fast charger. This is the 15-watt charger, and then you do get a Type-C data syncing and charging cable, and that's about it. You don't get earphones and you do not get any rubber casing, just a very minimal packaging with bare essentials. The good part is there is a headphone jack, so you can use your old earphones. And now let's move on with the rest of the review. And let's start by talking about the build quality and the design of the M31. Now M series is known for their extreme plastic build, and almost up to the M30 and M30s it didn't feel as premium. But the M31 for some reason looks better than those. Even from some distance, you can't tell whether it's plastic or glass or ceramic. But then if you're going to put on a case anyway, then does it matter? Now it is a fingerprint magnet, especially this color, so definitely put on a case if you plan on buying the black. At the back you have a quad camera setup inside a rectangular housing, and the primary lens is at 64 megapixel. We'll talk all about the camera, samples and everything towards the end of the video. The phone, despite its 6.4-inch screen and a humongous 6000 mAh battery, is still manageable to use with just one hand. Sure, it's not super comfortable and two hands would be preferred, but as I said, it's manageable. And even the weight of the device is surprisingly low for a 6000 mAh battery, but it is on the higher side. And it does have a physical fingerprint sensor as opposed to an in-display fingerprint sensor that you generally see, but you know what, it's actually faster, so I don't mind. And while there are no earphones in the box, you do get a headphone jack so you can use your old ones. And that's the U-shaped notch that you get in the front, housing the front-facing camera, and again, all samples will be shown later. Also, the M31 is not IP68 water and dust resistant. And the SIM tray can actually take 2 SIM cards and 1 microSD card to expand storage, all 3 at the same time, so you get maximum flexibility in terms of your SIM card configuration. The M31 features Android 10, Samsung One UI 2.0 right out of the box, and that's great because it's the first M series phone to do that. But there are some features that are missing. For example, secure folder, link to Windows, and screen recorder. All 3 are sort of unavailable. There is Dolby Atmos, which is great, and it delivers a superior sound experience. I'm really glad Samsung is putting this on all its smartphones. And now jumping on to the display. It's got a pretty big 6.4-inch Super AMOLED screen, and it's perhaps the best screen you will get across this price range. Colors are great, screen is really bright, so if you're someone who is always on the move, watching videos, watching movies, or just reading content, you would have absolutely no issues watching the screen even in bright sunlight. The bezels are quite thin on the sides as well as on the top. So, the overall experience of using the screen is quite good, except for the chin, which is still pretty thick. But yeah, you tend to not notice it when you're actually using the screen, and you get used to it pretty quickly. And talking about performance real quick, so you get Exynos 9611 with 6 gigs of RAM. By the way, that's the same processor that you get in the Galaxy A51, which is, an A-series smartphone from Samsung, so that's good. And here's the good part, PUBG automatically set the graphic level to high after seeing that the processor is quite capable. So that's what really matters, guys. The game loading or the game launching may be a little slow and not as fast as, what you get with Snapdragon 855s on the OnePlus and other high-end phones. But once the game is loaded, the gameplay is smooth, there is no lag in terms of touch response to touch or even network. So the phone is able to optimize all of its resources pretty well to deliver a great gaming experience. And yeah, when we talk about, launching apps, closing the apps, quickly switching between apps, let's say I open the camera and I quickly want to take a couple of shots, all of that seems decently fast, so no complaints there. And finally, coming to the quad camera setup. You get a 64 megapixel primary lens, an 8 megapixel ultra wide lens, a 5 megapixel macro lens, and a 5 megapixel depth sensor for beautiful background blur shots. And here are some samples that I took using the regular primary lens, and these shots are actually quite nice for its price point. I mean, for a 15,000 rupee phone to be able to take such good photos, I'm pretty impressed. Now, the primary lens does have a bit of a yellow shade to it, so the white balance is slightly on the warmer side, which you can obviously color correct, but you shouldn't have to, so I'm hoping Samsung would fix this with a software update. But otherwise, great shots. All of these are available for download, the link will be in the description below. Now these are shots I took using the ultra wide lens. the images on the left are primary lens and the images on the right are ultra wide. And you can see that the ultra wide lens actually has a better dynamic range. So they look better in terms of color contrast as compared to the primary lens. But yeah, it's got a different purpose, which is more to do with landscape photography. So this is primary lens, and when you go ultra wide, that's how it looks. It's really nice and massive and immersive. And again, the dynamic range is so much better. Again, another example, this was during, late evening. Primary lens, and there you go, that's the ultra wide lens. So again, all images are available for download, go ahead. Now here are shots taken using the depth sensor, and I have to say that it's actually very accurate. The edge detection and background foreground separation is very impressive. You can see that in this picture as well. So that's it's the depth sensor at the back of the camera. I'm not talking about the front camera just yet, but the background separation, the blurring is excellent, and absolutely impressed. And here are shots taken using the macro lens, and you can see that I've had some difficulty focusing because it's a fixed focal length. I had to take a couple of shots to get this right, and this one was totally out of focus. So it gets a little difficult, but it's probably going to be the least used. Now here are some selfies taken using the front-facing camera with beauty mode on, and you can see that the front camera has actually done a pretty good job. The exposure might be a little on the higher side, but you can always tone that down. And here are some live focus selfies that I took using the front-facing camera. Well, my friend took. There has been some issues with edge detection with the hair especially. So if you see around the hair, the edge detection goes a little off. But otherwise, I think great pictures overall. One thing I want to point out is that the HDR mode for the primary lens only works in the 16 megapixel mode and not in the 64 megapixel mode. So if you switched over to 64 megapixel, HDR would go away. What that means is that if this is how it looks in the 16 megapixel photo because HDR was on, this is how washed out it would look with the 64 megapixel lens, although it has more detail. But you can again apply filters and just make it a lot better. And yeah, there is a scene optimizer that's built into the phone, so it can recognize up to 30 scenes, I think, and it would, automatically tune your image to look the best. Talking about the video capabilities of the phone, it can shoot up to 4K videos at 30 FPS and 1080p at 30 FPS. You can also shoot videos in ultra wide mode, which is great. And here is a footage that I shot using the M31 in 1080p, again 30 FPS because that's the only option I have. You will see that the white balance keeps changing depending upon the lighting available, which is a little, see now it suddenly goes warm from cool. And then if I point to the sky, it's not really taking that in, but if I tap on the sky for focus, it suddenly gets into, changes the contrast. But I think in general for this price point, the video is quite nice, and you really can't expect a lot from, in terms of video capability. And even when I'm going really close to the subject, no problems in focusing as such. And another thing is that it's got super steady mode. So the best part is that you could shake your phone and it will keep your footage stable. Just look at how it is in the video right now. So here's a direct comparison. On the left is regular video and the right is super steady video, which is a lot smoother, but also darker because it uses the ultra wide lens to shoot that video. And now quickly jumping on to the battery. It's got a 6000 mAh battery, guys, and that's the battery to beat. Even the M30s was a battery monster, so was the M30, and people have given amazing positive response when it comes to battery life on these phones. So if you're looking for a phone that's going to last you the entire day, even more than a day, with heavy use, this is the phone to go for. It'll be really tough to drain this battery out, and yeah, you've got a fast charger, although it's just 15 watt, but it's good enough to charge your phone quickly. So overall, I think the Galaxy M31 is a very well-rounded device for a 15,000 rupee smartphone segment. Big screen, great battery life, a really good set of cameras, and just overall a really good experience. That's pretty much what you could ask for in this price segment. I think all that the M31 really lacks is a slightly better processor and a 25 watt charger to charge that massive battery, and this would be the perfect 15,000 rupee phone that you could get. Anyway, that's it from me, guys, on the M31. If you've got any questions, feel free to comment them in the section below. I'll see you in the next one, and thank you, guys.